Right. So can you see this one? Like this is just a bit of old presentation which has conducted done by the AP Nick. That is actually still valid. There are certain contents still valid that we can use it. So I'll be going to use this throughout this present the lecture sessions. Of course, we just need another like another 2 sessions most probably to complete the IPv6 environment. So can you see this particular PDF, guys? Are you visible?
Yes, yes.
Yes, sir.
Okay, great. So now what I'm going to do is I'm going to go through the this particular environment. Like, so we have already discussed about the motivations behind the IPv6 protocol and the functional improvements that they have done. One thing is the address space, like the functional improvements in the sense what they have actually improved. One thing is the address space. So they definitely increase the address space from the 32-bit address space to 128-bit address space. The second thing is the performance. Like previously we have discussed about the IPv4 header, which is containing, can you tell me if someone remember what is the IPv4 header size? IPv4 header size.
4-bit.
What? I didn't
8-bit.
get it. Four? No, no, it's not a 4-bit. IPv4 header size.
8-bit.
No, no, no. I just required the IPv4 header size. Huh? It's not a 4-bit, it's not 8-bit.
20 bit.
20,
4
20
byte.
byte, 20 byte, 20 bits, not the bits, byte. Huh? So the header size will be vary from 20 bytes to, what is the other end?
60.
What is the maximum? Yeah, 60 bytes. So the varies, the header size will be vary from 20 bytes to 60 bytes. That is the variation it goes. So always keep in mind that it is a variable header length that you are having for the IPv4, which is vary from the 20 bytes to 40 bytes. So sorry, 60 bytes. So either most probably, if you look at even if you see the practical examples here also, you might see that this particular environment, most of the time the IPv4 will be only limiting to the 20 bytes. They are not going more than the 20 bytes because of the just if you just use the IPv4 communications like home network, even on your office environment, if you didn't do any crafting on the IPv4 packet environment, like adding the QoS and then enabling the IPsec, if you didn't do any crafting, so obviously it's definitely going to be used the 40 bytes or 20 bytes as a default size. But if you have a different crafted environment like IPsec enable, QoS enable, obviously the size will be vary. That will be goes up to the most probably the 20 bytes. So, but here it's we are having the fixed header size. The fixed header size is this 40 bytes. So that is the fixed size that is not going to be vary. And the fixed header composition. If you look at the header composition, it's a fixed, and they have removed the most of the fields. So it's a very much simpler, but the size is much bigger than the IPv4, but because the reason you know that they need to contain the 128-bit address space. So obviously they can't survive with the 20 bytes. Because of that, the packet address size, the IPv6 header is the size wise is twice the IPv4 header. So the 20 bytes minimum header on the IPv4 header. Now the IPv6 header, it contains the fixed size of the IPv6 header, that is 40 bytes. So if you look at the comparisons, the composition of the IPv6 header, you can see the versions is there. Version field also there. Internet header length, type of services, everything has been removed. Instead of that, they have put the traffic class, and then the flow label. Only three on the first field, first row, there are only three fields: version, traffic class, and the flow label. Whereas on the IPv4 header, you will be seeing four classes, four fields, which are defining the different the header compositions. On the second one, you can see payload length, next header, hop limit. So hop limit is very much equal to the TTL, the payload length, and the next header. So now after that, you are having source address and the destination address. You can see that it has been drastically reduced the size without adding any type of other content. Are you clear, guys? So hello.
Yes.
Mhm. So what about the others? So there are, now it's going to be having 45 people. That is good, huh? Throughout this, what I have seen in this lecture session is, throughout the lecture series, I have seen the sort of a consistent participations like above 40. So that is good one. There is a one person called Who Are You? That is also good one. Okay, what about the others? Are you clear this one or not?
Yes, sir.
Yes, sir.
Okay, right, great. So if you look at the comparisons on the composition of the V4 and the V6 header, IPv4 header, it contains 10 basic field headers, 10. But whereas when it comes to the IPv6, that has been reduced to 6 basic header fields. IPv6 header has simply the 14 octets, in the sense 40 bytes, whereas IPv4 having the 20 bytes. So it's the size wise, it's double the size. It's double the size. So, but it will contain the same thing. So we will not going to discuss in depth on the IPv6 header. That actually which is not the sort of part of this one, but we will be going to discuss some other important aspects on this IPv6 environment. Guys, keep in mind right now, even if you look at, if you are using the Dialog Go, the Mobitel IP addresses, 4G uplink, 4G links, they are assigning the IPv6 to the your environment. So keep in mind, guys. So if you are going to be a network administrator, or even if you are going to be a system
I think,
administrator, yes.
sir, you are, sir, मैं कैडी कैडी आए ना sir, मैं sir के
දැන් එහෙනම්
connection का
දැන් එහෙනම්
දැන් හරි sir.
හරිද?
ඔව් හරි sir.
Okay. So if you are going to be a network administrator, or if you are going to be a system administrator, obviously you have to remember that you need to deal with the IPv6 environment. So even if you are planning to do CCNA courses, I think they will mainly then now focused on the while they are focusing on the IPv4, as well as they are now focusing on the IPv6 as well. So better to understand this one. This is one of the important thing to understand, that IPv4 or V6, whether you are using. So you have to play with you have to definitely play with live environment while you are working on it. So because even if you look at the today's world, is still, if you consider the Sri Lankan context, IT context, we don't see much a rapid growth on the IPv6 environment. Still, what they are doing is they are still doing introducing the IPv6 to the ISP level. Like that means whenever you are going to use the IPv4 addresses, or whenever you are going to use the internet connectivity, they are going to introduce the IPv6. But apart from that, we didn't see like end users. We didn't see any configurations done to the end users on the IPv6 environment. But I have been in the implementation of IPv6 environment for the LK domain registry. We have implemented the IPv6 for the end users as well. So where we have assigned the IP addresses for the end users. But we just run the IPv6 environment for about 6 to 8 months, actually nearly 1 year. Then we have shut it down because the reason is we do have a security risk that whenever you have enabled the IPv6 environment, so it means you are actually assigning the public IP to the each individual as well, public IPs. The reason is, if you look at the IPv6 address, guys, it's echoing to me. Let's just check this. Right. So if you look at the IPv6 address space, um, the important thing to understand is this much of number of IP addresses. Look at the number, look at the figure. This much number of IP addresses can be created on this address space. So can you just tell me the number at least? So like 1 billion, 5 billion, 3 billion, 3 million. Can you tell me like that? Obviously not this particular number. You can imagine that even I don't think that you are right. So if you can see this one, the numbers that is having like, so we don't want to worry about for another couple of centuries, because we can make sure that, because uh, there won't be this much of population in the world because of obviously that because right now we do have only how many billion peoples in the world right now, the population 10 billion, I'm not quite sure. Yeah, might be 10 to 15 billion. Yeah, so obviously for the next couple of centuries that will be double the size, like 30 billion, 40 billion, 50 billion. So but obviously it's not this number, so we can definitely survive with the IPv6 on the next couple of centuries, for the next couple of centuries with the IPv6 address space. But sometimes if you do not have with the technology, sometimes they will be find out several other interesting environment where you will be learning those things as well. So anyway, so if you live, there is a conditions that you should live. If you survive that, you will be learn those things, because with these pandemics you can see the life is uncertainty of the life that you can understand. So we have already discussed this particular environment, like how we are going to discuss the brief this one. So the IPv6 addressing schemes, that also we have discussed this one. So we have discussed this rule of thumbs, and then let's give you some interesting thing to you. Okay, okay, guys. Another 4 type of IP addresses. It's again exercise, guys. Hello.
Hello, sir.
Yeah, there is another exercise. It's again the show how you are going to shorten the IPv4 v6 addresses. 1 2 3 4. Just shorten it. Send it to me via your chat. Quickly. I will give you another 10 minutes time. Guys. You can start now. No. That you with your index number. So I'll send it to everyone. These are the IP address that you need shown with your index number. The answers has to be provided like in the chat. So that is going to be, sometimes this will again mark as a separate assignment. It's sometimes. So I need your answers with your index number and the answers. Then you have to send it again. So I have posted in the chat also. You can copy and paste it and shortnet send it to me again. Done. Did everyone send the answers to me, or do you need more time? So now let's going to go with the yes, that is going to be a considered as assessment. Sometimes it might be extended version of the previous one, because let's say for example I told you that one is going to consider 5 marks for the assessment, but I will consider this box also and make it as a 10. So definitely that is going to be assessment, because I have already told you that might be the chance to become assessment. That's why I told you to send the answers along with your index numbers. Otherwise, I don't require that one. Right. So we'll continue with the session. So we'll go back to this session and we'll continue with that one. So I told you that when you learning the IPv4 environment, we have learned about actually 3 type of IPv4 addresses. Those things are unicast, multicast, and anycast. The same thing we will be able to learn in here. Whenever you are going to learn the IPv6 address environment, IPv6 environment, we have 3 different type of addressing models. 3 different type of addressing model. Those are, we call it as a unicast, anycast, and the multicast. So I just again brief you about what is the unicast. Unicast in the sense, one computer is going to talk to the another computer. Computer A wants to send the data packet to the computer B, and computer B wants to send the data packet to the computer A. So in that manner, so we are having the unicast IPv6 address model. The second one is the multicast. Multicast in the sense, if you really require to talk to the specific group, like let's say for example, whenever I am going to deliver the lectures for the system administration course, so I am going to deliver the lecture to a specific group. Actually, the group is who are going to complete the degree on, let's say, what is your degree title that you are getting? Is it B Bachelor of Technology, right? B Tech. Guys, what is your degree title? It is B Tech or BSc.
Yes,
What is the title? It's a B
B.Tech.
Tech, right? So let's say for example, you are the people who are going to get for the B Tech honors in specializing network. So I'm just only delivering to the people system administration course, where I'm delivering to only the persons who are specialized on the network, specializing on the network. So, but there are other 2 degrees modules which are specialized in 2 different areas. One is the software engineering, the other one is multimedia. So, and there is another one called Bachelor of Education. So they are specializing on, actually they will be specializing mainly focusing on the educations part as well as, but the IT education, I guess, if I'm not mistaken, that is specialized in the IT education. So basically there are 4 categories of people, but for the second year onwards, I'm only delivering to the network people. So that is going to be the multicast. So right now that I am delivering the computer network subjects to all the 4 uh, categorized people. Like here we have the, if you take this batch like B1 20, is it 2016, 18, right? 2018 B1 batch. That is, we are delivering the lectures. This is the you any cast one, any cast in the sense I'm going to deliver the lectures to everyone. But when I'm going to deliver the lectures to the system administration lecture, that is going to be the multicast. So that is exactly what we are going to do with this unicast, anycast, and the multicast. So normally the anycast will call it as a broadcast as well. Broadcast in the sense we will be delivering to the everyone. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Great, great. Right. So the next thing that we will be going to discuss about the different type of IP address schemes. Like on the IPv6 address, v4 addresses also, we were discussed about the different type of IP address classes. Class A starting from 190.0.0.2. I guess that is starting ending with the 171. Sorry. Class A, what is the IP address range? It's a 0.0.0.02 127.255.255.255. That is the class A. From the 128.0.0.0 to 171.255.255.255 until up to that one. So you are going to have the class B. From the class B, that is going to be likewise, we are having the different IP addresses classes, and there we have the special category IP addresses. Like if you look at this one, say for example, I'll show you this one. Can you see this environment?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So here you will be seeing something like this. If you run the IP space -A, you are going to see one of the special IP address what we are going to see here. That is going to be the, what is this? This is, we call it as a loopback IP. So this is one of the special category IP address which we used on the IPv4 address scheme. Similarly, we do have a different type of special IP addresses in the IPv6 address space as well. Can you see in this particular adapter? Is it possible to see the IPv6 address? Can you able to see the IPv6 address?
Yes, yes, yes.
You can see this one, right?
I can.
Yeah, take it.
You can see here the inet 6 is going to be having 2407 colon C00 colon D004 colon DCFF colon 7903 colon 66BE colon 1E34 colon D0A4 slash 64. This is the subnet, of course. At every time that you are seeing IPv6 address, your IP subnet will be limited to the 64. We are not going beyond that. I'll tell you what is the reasons. I'll tell you definitely the reasons. So you can see this is the IPv6 address. Can you, is this is a shortened one or the IPv6 is there as it is?
You don't answer. I'll see it.
Shorted.
It's a shortened one. Like see, if you look at here, 2407, the second one is going to be, actually that has to be set it in the 0C00 because that the leading 0 has been removed in here. The other than that, you don't see any shortened path, right? So because other things will be normally, they have been removed. But you can see there is another IP address. If you can see here, you can see another IP address which is having FE80 colon colon 3592 colon 4007 colon 4BE2 colon A88D slash 64 network. You can see this one also. So this is, you can see there were two IP addresses with the innets. Can you elaborate me what is the the real IP addresses which have been given by the, this is actually I'm using Mobitel 4G communication connection. So can you tell me what is the real IPv6 addresses given by the IP the Mobitel? Because you can see there were two IPv6 addresses. There were two IPv6 addresses. Can anyone tell me?
First one is limited.
First one is this one.
Yes.
This is a limited one. Then this is the IP address given by the Mobitel, is it?
No, sir. I think first one is given by the Mobitel. Second one is our like private address.
Yeah. Yes. Yes. If you see here, when you just to, whenever you are going to describe the IPv6 addresses, uh, I will be going to define you this one. If you see this one, like scope global, dynamic, no free fixed route. So like if you see this scope global, that is a global IP address. That means it's a given by the any type of ISP to us. It's a publicly routable IP address. Scope global. If you see this one, scope link. Sorry guys. Scope link. That is actually the this particular one is a private the special category type of IPv6 address, which is actually assigned by the the interface itself. So this is actually the that is we call as a link local IPv6 address. So link local IPv6 address, and this is the IPv6 address given by the Mobitel, that is we call it as a scope global. So you can easily identify this one. This there is a one type of special category IPv6 address called FE80. That is the link local. We call it as a link local IP address. I'll tell you why we require the link local IP address. When are we going to discuss about the IP address assignments? So whenever, so if you look at the IPv6 addresses, so just tell me what are the ways that you can configure the IPv4 address into your net computer? How we are going to assign the IPv6 address to your computer? I didn't get that one. Again, I am repeating the questions. How we are going to assign the IP address to your computer? That is a simple question. So obviously you should know that one, since you IT graduates. Guys, come on, tell me at least the answers.
So go to the open the network settings.
Okay.
Then choose my network Ethernet port.
Okay.
Properties.
Right.
Then choose Internet Protocol version 4 properties.
Okay.
Then obtain an IP address automatically is not use following IP address. Tick. Then
Great.
type
Right.
IT,
Right.
IP.
Yeah. So basically, I'll show you. whenever you require, this is on the Linux environment that I'm going to show you. Whenever you want to enter IPv4 address, so you have two ways. One is the method is automatic. Automatic in the sense that is what we are going to say is that there is a communication protocol called DHCP, Dynamic Host Configuration Protocol. Once you set the automatic, there should be a device. Either it can be a router. In my case, this is going to be the router. So there should be a device that releasing the IP addresses. That will be releasing the IP addresses to my host to here, and that is going to be assigned. So if you can see right now, this is what I shown you. This is what I have shown you, like this is the IP address that they have assigned to me. It says 192.168.8.104/24. If you really required, if you want to see how they are going to assign the IPv6 addresses, I'll show you even here. So this is my Wi-Fi settings and network status. Right. Let me check this one. This is Ethernet settings. This is about the network settings.
Mobile and DHCP.
There is data, right? See here, you can see this is my router which I have assigned like DHCP IP address. This is just simply, you can see we didn't want to do anything, just to enable and disable, that's it. So I have enabled it and put this IP address full. So what they are going to assign here is they will be going to assign the DHCP IP addresses 192.168.8.100 to 8.200. So the least time, in the sense, once they assign this one, they are going to lease this particular IP address for myself for about 86,400 minutes. That is going to be, I guess, sort of a 7 weeks period. So sorry, 7 days period. 7 days period. So you can just think about it's something like this. This is, I have enabled the IPv4 DHCP environment where they will be assigning the IPv4 addresses. So this is how I have get the IP address in here. In here, this is how I have taken the IP address. You can see that 192.168.8.104/24 environment. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Right. So this is the one way. There is another method that I can go through it. That is actually I can set the manual method. So here, if you can see here, IPv6 addresses, v4 addresses, this is what we call as a manual. In the manual method, what we need to do is we need to provide the IPv4 addresses manually. That means we have to add it. See here that I had typed manually. So the network administrator should provide all the necessary details, like what is your IP address, what is your netmask gateway. If you are the network administrator, you should know what is your IP, what type of IP addresses are available to assign, and what is the netmask, and what is the gateway. So once you taken that one, once you get it that one, obviously you can easily assign it, and the DNS servers as well. So everything has to be assigned manually. So that is what I have asked here. Whenever you are going to deal with IPv4 environment, you should have two methods to assign IPv4 address to the given host, whether it can be a Windows, it can be a Linux, whatever it is, there are two ways. One is you can use the automated mechanisms that is called DHCP. If you want to enable the DHCP, there should be a DHCP server which are releasing the IP addresses like a router, or you can have your own DHCP server by using the Windows or Linux environment. So that is also possible. So, but next thing is the auto manual method that you can do it manually. So you have, those are the two mechanisms that you are going to use it. Normal method, the manual method, and the automated method. That is the two method that you can assign the IPv4 addresses into the devices. But when it comes to the IPv6, obviously you can do the same thing. One thing is you can assign the IPv6 address in a manual way. What you are going to do is, again, if I show you here, in the IPv6 tabs, you can select the method and you can assign the IPv DNS servers, and you can add the IPv6 address as well. So that is the first way of dealing with the IPv6 address. That is how we are going to add it. The second method is, again, you can use the DHCP mechanisms, automatic way. DHCP mechanisms, what they are supporting here is you should, again, the same similar manner, you should have a DHCP server to release the IPv6 addresses, whereas you can get the IPv6 address from that the particular DHCP server which they have released. So that is the second method. So obviously what you have followed on the IPv4 to configure the IP addresses, the same methods can be followed in the IPv6 address as well. That means same methods are being applied to the IPv6 addresses as well. So yeah, nothing to worry about it. So there are two methods as the IPv6 and for the IPv4 as well. So you can use it. But these, when it comes to the IPv6 environment, since the IPv6 addresses are huge, it's not pretty much easy to remember the IPv6 address and manually type it. That is not possible. Obviously, that is not possible. Even when you're dealing with the IPv6 addresses, DHCP server also, obviously, in the initial stage, the administrators need to configure the DHCP server by giving the IP addresses like this, because we need to provide the IP starting IP address, ending IP address, and the subnet mask, everything. So here you can see the subnet mask also we have given here. So because of that, so which is very much not practically used, this V6 actually we are using it, but very much like very frequently we are not using the IPv6 DHCP servers also, because there is a certain configuration that we need to follow, which is again hassle for the administrators, because they have to deal with the different type of environment then again. So because of that, they have been introduced with the IPv6 addresses. They have introduced another communication mechanisms, another IPv6 addressing assigning mechanisms. What they are saying is the stateless auto configuration. I'll explain that one. Nothing to worry. So whenever you want to configure the IPv6 addresses, we have a manual method. So the IPv6 configuration on hosts. One is via manual method. Second one is via DHCP mechanism. That is DHCP IPv6 configurations. DHCP stand for dynamic host configuration protocols. Third one is the we call it as a stateless auto configuration. Stateless auto configuration mechanism. So you have three methods in with the IPv6 they have introduced to us, which we can use it. Are you clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
So you can say this is just I just want to show you. This is just a simple a router configuration parameter. Obviously, you have been deal with this one. So I just want to highlight here, like these are the different type of environment that you might be working with it in here. Right. So let's go back to the presentation again. This is one of the important thing that I want to highlight here. This particular link local address. So we have discussed about the IPv6 address scheme, like the stateless auto configuration. This link local IP address will be utilized whenever you are going to deal with the link stateless auto configuration IP assigning mechanisms. I'll explain that one when we are going to discuss about this stateless auto configuration IP address scheme. This link local IP will be heavily used whenever you are going to deal with the stateless auto configuration IP address scheme. Are you clear, guys? You can see that that is definitely available in your environment. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Anyone have any questions so far what we have discussed? Did everyone understand what we have discussed so far? Yes. Okay. So let's go into the more concepts. So the next special type of address actually, this is since this particular presentation has been created in the somewhere 2012-13, the site local address right now deprecated. We don't use this one. We are not. We will be not no more using the site local addresses FEC0::/10. So this is how we will be defining the subnet mask. FEC0::/10. That is how we are going to define subnet mask. So this will be not basically used in the live environment because that is right now is deprecated. It's already deprecated on the RFC 3879. This is called site local address. And then the next important thing that you need to have we understand is the globally unique IP addresses given by the different providers. Like I told you that whenever you're going to deal with the IPv6 addresses, keep in mind that we don't have the concept called private or public. Except the special type of addresses like site local, link local addresses, and the loopback address. I'll show you the loopback address also. You can see IPv6 loopback address is ::1/128. ::1/128. This is the loopback address. Here the loopback IPv4 loopback address is 127.0.0.1/8. This is the IPv4 loopback address. This is the IPv6 loopback address ::1/128. So keep in mind that except the link local address and except the loopback address, whenever they have assigned any type of IPv6 address to your environment, if I see now, I'll try to ping 6 to the www.facebook.com. Look at this one. Let's say this one. Right. You can see that now I am trying to ping into the IPv6 address. See here. They are trying to ping to the IPv6, but if you didn't mention the -6, they are trying to ping to the IPv. Still the 6, that is, they have given the priority to the IPv6. That's why. Look at this. They will try to ping it to the IPv6. So right now, since they have assigned the IPv6 addresses, even if I try to ping to the IPv google.lk also, they will try to resolve it with via the IPv4. This is the Google IPv6 address. This is the Google IPv6 address. You can see that is being assigned to the knock@google.com. So this is the Google corporate IPv6 address. Mount View, California, CA. Amphitheater Parkway, Mount View, California. So you can see that is the assigned to the Google. So if you use the previous one like Facebook one also, if you try to get the Facebook IPv6 address here, you can see it's assigned to the Dublin Island, Facebook Island Limited, for Grand Canal Square, Grand Canal Harbour. So this is a UK, simply island in the sense UK. So you can see that is also owned by the Facebook. This is the IPv6 address assignment. You can see the IPv6 numbers, how many assignments that they do have for the Facebook. 2803:2880:/29 subnet. Just imagine the address space that they do have. Even the previous one also, if you look at the Google one, let's say how many IPv6 addresses? 2404:6800:/32. So you can see it's a 32 subnet IPv6 address that they have. So this is very much easy for me to learn you this one because they have assigned the IPv6 addresses for my 4G network as well. Look at this. Whenever you try to use without mentioning any communications, they will try to do the communication through the IPv6. That is the behavior of the Linux environment, not the Linux, actually behavior of the operating systems. By default, network layer, let's say for example, if you do have both IPv4 and the v6 addresses, both IPv4 and the v6 addresses configured in your environment, they are going to give the priority to the IPv6. Then that means if you try to reach, let's say for example, take the Facebook. If you are trying to reach the Facebook also configured both IPv4 and the v6, right? Facebook also configured both IPv4 and the v6. If they try to reach the IPv6 if they try to reach to the Facebook environment, since my machine also configured with the IPv4 and v6, and your machine also configured with the IPv4 and the v6, so the Facebook also, they are going to give the priority to the IPv6 communications. They will neglect the IPv4 communications and priority automatically assigned to the IPv6 communications. This is the default behavior on any type of operating systems. Are you clear, guys? Even that is applied to the router, all the router switches as well. Are you clear, guys? Right, guys. So is it clear, guys, that but default mechanisms, default way that they are going to use is the prioritize is goes to the IPv6 N1. That's why I want to highlight here. That is, see, you can see now. Even you can see a one special thing here. You can see the pace. Whenever they have been assigned the IPv6 address to this one, you can see they have assigned with the pace, right? So so you will be able to see this one, like even they have been put their name as IP address, face. Obviously, that is they have put the BOC book, Facebook. Can you see this one? Face, of course, this FACE address, the strings are available on the IPv6 address. So they have set Facebook B00C, Facebook. Look at this one, guys. That is interesting one, actually. We'll see whether Google, what they have done for the Google. They have nothing done to this one. So even if you get the www. Let's say Mobitel is supporting the IPv6. Let's see that. No, they are only just running with the IPv4, and we'll see the dialog. I guess dialog has been supported the IPv6. You can see their website is running on the IPv6 dialog.lk. Then again, if I'm not mistaken, Etisalat also they have run it on the IP etisalat.lk. Domain is not there, but nic.lk that we have, they are removed the IPv6 address as well.
Excuse me, sir.
Yes.
Can you explain also dual stack method?
Yeah, that is, of course, I'm going to explain this one, nothing to worry. So just to give you this, still we are going through the dual stack is a sort of a way that how we are going to assign the IPv6 addresses. So nothing to worry, I'll explain that one. So definitely that is one of the things that we are going to describe here. Anyway, so you can see now, if you look at here, the IPv6 address on the IP, the IPv6 address assigned on the dialog is the 2404. If you look at the Google, that is 2404 again. If you look at the Facebook, that is 2803. So you will be able to see, just give me a second, guys. Right. So you can see this is what you need to understand. They have assigned only, just to, if I show you, just 3% of, if you look at the global address space which are available that we can use for the IPv6, out of that all the global IP address space, they have utilized only, assigned at the moment only 3% of the whole IP space they have been used to to use for the global addresses like this one. So whatever the IP addresses which are going to start with 2000, still they didn't have the 3000 IP6 addresses, because we didn't still utilize the 2000 IP6 v6 address as well. Just imagine ::/3, the /3 is a subnet. You can just imagine how many IPv6 addresses available on this. It's going to be the 2 to the power 125. 2 to the power 125. So 2000:/3 and the 3000:/3. Just to imagine that how many number of IPv6 addresses assigned available in this global unicast IP. So, but if you look at for the regional internet registrars that they have assigned, for the APNIC region, they have assigned 2400:000:/12 network. For the errand 2600:000:12 network. For the Afrinic 2C00:0000:12 network. For the Lacnic, they have assigned 2800:000:12 network. For the RIPE NCC, they have assigned 2A00:00:0/12 network. So that's why whenever you are going to take the IPv6 address to the Sri Lankan context, you are going to get the 2400 IPv6. In dialog.lk, if you see, that is having the 2404. Even the Mobitel, if you look at the Mobitel IP address that they have assigned 2407. 2407. So you can see that is since we are in the AP NIC region, that is the IP address they have assigned to the Mobitel and the dialog. The Mobitel and the dialog will be assigning to us. So even if you want to look at the IP address details on this one, if you run the whois command, so you can see that on the whois command 2407:C00:/32 network. This is the IPv6 address assignment. So you can see how many IPv6 addresses are there. If you look at the dialog also, like say for example, let's see who is, when you run the whois command for this one. (2404:F000) and then you can see /32 network. So just to give you idea, look at this. Is it clear, guys?
Yes, sir.
Do you guys have any issues, concerns so far?
So Windows වල මේ විදිහට බලන්න බැරි CMD command එකේ
IP config එකෙන් බලන්න පුළුවන්. මෙන්න මේ command එක.
ඒ කියන්නේ මේ අනිත් මේ domains වල විස්තර
ඔයාට අනිත් domains වල විස්තර බලන්නත් ping command එක දැන් අපි පාවිච්චි කරපු commands use කරන්න පුළුවන්.
මම
whois එක නම් available නැහැ. whois එක available.
ඔය එක වැඩ කරන්නේ නැහැ
ඒක නෑ. ඒක මේ Linux වලට native වෙන command එකක්. whois එක ඕගොල්ලන්ට මම හිතන්නේ Windows වලට දාගන්න ඕන වෙනම. දාගන්න ඕන නෙවෙයි, ඇත්තටම ඔයාලට ඒක available නැහැ මම හිතන්නේ. මේකෙම තියෙන command එකක් මේ Linux වලම තියෙන native Linux වල. This is a native command which is available in the Linux. Sorry guys. Is it clear, guys?
Yes sir.
Right. Do you have any issues? Do you have any issues, concerns so far?
No, sir.
Right. So then, so this is actually about what you need to understand with the global address with the network prefix. So there is another, these are the global address spaces that we have learned three things like a link local address space that is starting with FE80. If you see the IP addresses which are starting with the FE80, you should immediately understand this is the link local address which are assigned to the interface. Then again, if you see the IPv6 addresses which are starting with ::1, this is the loopback address. So guaranteed that is going to be the loopback address. Again, if you starting, see here you can see in here also the FE80 address is assigned to my uh, tunnel interface. This is tunnel interface in the sense VPN interface. So it's a FE80 IPv6 address. So whenever you looked at the IPv6 address, you should be able to understand whether this is a global unique IPv6 address or the any other special category IPv6 address. When you look at 202407, that is guaranteed. If any IPv6 addresses starting with 2000, somewhere on 2000 or 3000, you don't see the 3000 yet, because that is not going to, that is not even implemented on any customer locations. Still we are seeing the IPv6 addresses with the 2402 2000 IPv6 addresses. That is going to be the globally unique IPv6 addresses. Then again, whenever you are going to go forward, so there is another special type of IPv6 address which have been right now deprecated. We call it as a site local address, which are starting with FEC0. FEC0. It's already deprecated now. We are not no longer using this one. There is another IPv6 special type of IPv6 address category. This is also we will be not no longer using. I'll tell you the reason. This is we are using like IP addresses starting from 2002 //16 subnet network. This has been used for we call it as a 6 to 4 translation. I'll explain this one, nothing to worry. These concepts we are going to explain most probably not today, but most probably the next week. 6 to 4 translations. 6 to 4 translations. So what exactly we are going to discuss here is, it's something like this. I'll tell you one scenario. Let's take a simple example. Just think about that you are going to meet one of your friend who is not in, he is actually not a Sri Lankan. He is, let's say for example, just think about he or she is a Chinese person, right? So if you try to communicate with him or her, like rather than by without using your global language, so because we do have a global language call right now, just think about simple example that I am now delivering a lecture. The global language using English. The reason why I am delivering the lecture using English is, one thing is most of the computer concepts have been defined and designed by the English people, and the concepts, the words, terminology is also very much easy to define it in the using the English language rather than using the Sinhala language. So that is the one of the important thing that you need to understand. The second thing is, since there were people who are dealing with the different their native mother languages, like some people talking with Sinhala, some people using their mother language as Tamil, some people, most of the people using mother language as Tamil, but there were people who are dealing with the Sinhala, most of the people using with the Sinhala, but Sinhalese language, but somewhere they were dealing with the Tamil language, right? So if I'm going to deliver, because some people does not even understand the Sinhala, even though the majority of the people in Sri Lanka, we just we are talking with the Sinhala language, but because of some people actually does not even understand Sinhala language because of their like geographically locations. Sometimes people from the far from the areas like the Sinhala villages like Batikalo areas. Then again, if you look at the Jaffna, so since they are not pretty much dealing with the Sinhalese people, because of that, they were not familiar with the Sinhala language. So, but if I try to deliver the lecture by using the Sinhala language, the people who were having the native Tamil language, native Tamil speakers, did they able to understand what I am saying? Did they able to understand what I am saying? Of course not. Even though we are in the same country, since they were even like look at the other way around also the same thing. But we, even though our closest people are dealing with the Tamil language, but we couldn't speak the Tamil. So that the other way around also there. But I just want to highlight here, it's something like this. Even though we are in the same layer, we are in the same country, same, but we talk two different language. We talk two different language. See, set of people are having the native mother tongue as theirs Sinhala. Set of people are having their native mother tongue as Tamil, right? Whenever they try to talk to each other, whenever they were try to talk to each other, obviously, if they use their own native mother languages to communicate within these each others, obviously that is not possible. The communication will not take place properly. The people who, the two parties cannot understand what they are saying. What they are saying. Exactly same thing happened in the IP layer as well. Even though these two protocols are behaving the same layer, IP layer, internet protocol layer, but they can't talk to each other. IPv4 cannot talk to the IPv6. IPv6 cannot talk to the IPv4. Since those are two different protocols, they do have two different headers. They do have their own two different algorithms. So because of that, they can't talk to each other. The communication cannot initiate or cannot happen in between these two layers, two protocols, not actually layer, even though they are in the same layer. Same thing apply in Sri Lankan context as well. Even though we are in the same country, because that will not applicable only for this here, but also if you look at the India, there are different states. If you look at, there are, I think, more than 100 languages. The people are talking 100 languages, more than 100 languages. So if you go to the Tamil Nadu, they were talking, their mother language is Tamil. If you go to the Delhi, their mother language is Hindi. If you go to somewhere else, they do have their own mother language. They talk by their native languages. Because whenever you were trying to pass in between these states, either you should have one common language to speak up, or you can't even talk to each others. You can't even send the messages to them. So the only thing is we have to deal with the signings. Just give me a second, guys. Right. So are you guys clear with this one? Because this is one of the important things that you need to understand here. Like whenever you are going forward, what you need to understand is you should understand these two things. Like we are having two different protocol, IPv4 and the v6, and then what we are going to do is we are going to deal with v4 and the v6 environment, because sometimes, like say for example, some people like we can totally run on the, like our services will only can run on the totally on the IPv6 environment. Sometimes we might able to run it on the IPv4 environment. So whenever I just talk, let's say for example, in my case, I am having the IPv4 address only, and I am going to try to access the services which are going to cater with the IPv6 only. The other way around also can be possible. I'll tell you one example. Whenever we are running on the IPv6 environment, all the client, even I have been run as a test environment IPv6 since 2012. My laptop has been assigned the IPv6 address since 2012. on that area, on that time, Google and the Facebook definitely they have supported IPv6 environment, but Skype does not support the IPv6. But still, I do have the IPv6 address assigned to my environment, but I don't have the IPv4 address. I do only have the IPv6 address assigned to my laptop. Whenever I try to connect to the IPv4 supported Skype communication, Skype environment, that doesn't work. The reason is it's two different layer, two different protocol, like two different communication channel. I try to explain the theory by using Sinhala language, and the people who are having the native language as Tamil, they can't understand anything. They definitely can't understand anything. So that is the exact thing happening. Because of that, with the IPv6 introduction, to the network level, they have introduced several transition technologies. We call that one as a transition technology, right? Okay, guys. Sorry. So hope this is clear to you. Like what we are going to do here is, it's something interesting thing. Like whenever you are going to deal with, you should know we are trying to communicate with the two different layers. So sorry, two different protocol in the same layer. That's why I'm trying to explain. Whenever you want to deal with it, so they have introduced the concept called transition technologies. What exactly they are defining here is how you are going to communicate with services which are catering IPv4 to IPv6 and the other way around. IPv6 to IPv4. So we will be going to use two things. We are going to know how the people who are in the, let's say for example, client can be running with the IPv4 environment, and the services which will be supporting only for the IPv6 environment, which is very rare, very rare, because reason is, if you want to cater, if you want to expose any services to the client, any services to the outside, keep in mind that since almost 99% of the clients who are utilizing the internet, they are running with the IPv4. That is guaranteed. Because of that, we will not going to run our services only on the IPv6 environment. Obviously, we need to run the IPv4 environment. That first case that I have explained is very rare. The second can be happen. Second, in the sense, the client will be runs on the IPv6 environment where the server is catering only on the IPv4 environment. That is possible. So how we are going to talk whenever we are using two different protocols, V4 to V6 and the V6 to V4, how we are going to talk, how we are going to deal with it. So that obviously we are going to discuss, not today. We can discuss on several other concepts also there, but most probably that will be the last part. Okay, guys. So then we'll meet on next Thursday. Yeah, 10th Thursday, and we can continue our lecture sessions. Until then, have a safe week and goodbye.
Thank you, sir. Goodbye,
Thank
sir.
you, sir.
Thank you very
Thank
much.
you, sir.
Okay.
Goodbye.
Okay, goodbye. Bye.